My triple captain is active and I have 4 free transfers this game week. In today's team selection video, we're taking a look at exactly how I could line up for the game week 17 deadline and what moves I could potentially make. So, let's get into this. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's team selection video. We have the triple captain active, we have 4 free transfers. We're going to go across my team as well as the moves I can make this week. If you are brand new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe for future FPL content and FPL streams. And don't forget to like the video as well, guys. It's one of the best ways to support the video. And of course, it is really easy to do. It literally will take you 2 seconds. Be greatly appreciated if you could do that for me. We're setting up in today's video with a 4-3-3 setup formation. I rarely use in FPL, to be honest with you, but I think it's the best way to set up my squad this game week. We'll start with the back 4 here. We do have the triple Arsenal defence, and I just want to take a moment to speak about the past few weeks owning triple Arsenal defence. It's been an absolute nightmare. It really has been, because there's been injuries, there's been rotations, and it's just been an absolute nightmare to deal with. It's really damaged my game week scores quite a lot, and sort of not having a full fit defence and defence that I can rely on in FPL. And the Arsenal defence was meant to be that. They are the best defence in the league. I want to take advantage of their players. We're coming into a tricky fixture now, so maybe we don't set up with the triple Arsenal defence. Maybe we just have the double, and we'll see what that's like in the coming weeks. But right now, we know that Timber's fit. We know that Saliba's fit. We of course know David Raya's fit. I'm just really looking forward to having 3 fit Arsenal defenders in those 3 players for the coming game weeks. But we'll see how they develop in terms of their fixtures here, because they do have hard games. I'm not hiding from that. So potentially we see someone like a Saliba or a Timber leave the squad. Maybe even a David Raya, but goalkeeper transfers are kind of a luxury move in my eyes in FPL. But we have the Bravka on the bench, who I could maybe partner with a Verbruggen. I know he has a great rotation with him, so we'll see how that develops. But right now, I'm pretty happy with the triple Arsenal defence. We move to Virgil van Dijk with another away fixture. Spurs away for Virgil van Dijk this week. Spurs are one of them teams where, like, the most unexpected result will just happen. It's just weird. I don't know what it is. No one can predict Spurs. That's why no one has Spurs assets in their team. And if you do, I would maybe look at moving them on, in all honesty, especially Van de Ven. I think he's awful as an FPL pick. But Virgil van Dijk, Spurs. Now, I think with Liverpool at the moment, they maybe could, looking at the fixtures especially, get a little bit of momentum back. Not in terms of the title race, but getting back to where they need to be. The Champions League spots, moving their way up the European positions, because they do have some really good games. I think it's, we'll pull it up right now actually. It's Spurs, Wolves at home, Leeds at home, and then Fulham away, Arsenal away, Burnley at home. And then even after that, it's a pretty difficult run actually. Bournemouth, Newcastle, City. So yeah, for the next sort of 6 weeks, 5 weeks-ish, the fixtures look really great. And we're going to take advantage of that by going with Virgil van Dijk. And there's a lot of emotion, actually, within picking Liverpool players for some people, because we see, obviously, Liverpool in the table. They've not had a good start to the league. People don't want to pick Liverpool players, and maybe there's a bit of upside with that emotion attached to people, where me as an analytical manager, someone who pays attention to data, maybe I have an upper hand with that, or potentially maybe I'm completely wrong with Liverpool and they are just terrible and they're going to keep being terrible against any opposition in the league. But I just don't see that happening. I think Virgil van Dijk and Liverpool will have a good next couple of weeks, in all honesty. We have the last defender here who's starting, Anderson, with the home fixture against Forest. Forest have been doing progressively better in recent game weeks. Some game weeks a little bit off, but, you know, last game week against Spurs, 3-0. What can we expect for this Fulham fixture? It's really difficult to tell. Fulham just played last night and lost to Newcastle away from home. So, yeah, I don't know. It's one of them games where I'm not exactly hopeful for a clean sheet here, but it is a home fixture. We know that Anderson's pretty good with defensive contributions. We're not going to, of course, put him out of this squad with that home fixture. We'll have hope in him, and at least he could have defensive contributions this game week. We have, of course, Rodon on the bench there with Crystal Palace at home, but we have heard a quote from Glasner about playing time for certain members of the squad, which we'll get to when we get to the forward line. But that is my defence. Let's move to the midfield now. In the midfield, we have Minte, Bruno Fernandes and Dominic Szoboszlai, with Enzo Fernandez and Reinders on the bench. Starting with Minte with the Sunderland at home fixture. Now, this just feels like a weird game to me. My team, Sunderland, of course, had a massive win against Newcastle, and the momentum we're going to have after this game is going to be ridiculous. We already had momentum as it is after having an amazing start to the Premier League season. But then on the other hand, we've just lost quite a lot of players there to the African Cup of Nations. So that's going to weaken the squad as a whole. I honestly don't know which way this game's going to go. I really don't. I could be in the case where I absolutely want to start Minte, but and then the other I'm like, maybe I just sell him. Maybe he's not going to do as well against Sunderland, but then he has good fixtures coming up on the horizon. But the issue with Minte is with my chip strategy. In game week, I'll show you on here with Minte's fixtures. Of course, Sunderland at home, as we've discussed about. But in game week 18, when I plan to use my bench boost, Brighton play Arsenal away, and I'm like, I don't really want him for that game because it feels like it's going to mess up my bench boost. But then he has West Ham and Burnley straight after, so I'm in a spot with Minte at the moment where I could sell him, but it doesn't feel right to sell him right now in FPL. It's a tough one to call. Let me know in the comments what you would do in this sort of position I'm in here, but that's Minte for you. Bruno Fernandes, Aston Villa away from home. They've got 2 hard games coming up, Aston Villa and I believe Newcastle as well. It's Newcastle at home though, so I feel as though that's a decent game week for Bruno Fernandes. Any game at home for Manchester United, and of course any game that Newcastle play away from home, they tend to lose. So yeah, I still think he's good for the Newcastle game, but for this game, it doesn't feel like a really strong option. In terms of Bruno himself, though, as an FPL asset, he can score any amount of points in any game. He's got that really high ceiling with the amount of routes to points he has. So I am hopeful in this case that he comes away with something. Even if it's defensive contributions, I'll be happy with that because good fixtures are coming, and I'm quite excited to own Manchester United players, and potentially in game week 19 I'll make the move back to Cunha after selling him just last game week. So yeah, really excited for Bruno Fernandes for the coming weeks. Not so much this game week though with that hard game. You've got Dominic Szoboszlai with a flag with the Spurs away fixture, of course. I really want him for this game. I'm desperate for him to play. I feel as though buying him last week maybe a little bit too early, but I'm really excited for this game for him. I think he could do incredibly well, but that little flag is really annoying me. It really is, because there's that uncertainty there. He had a not pretty bad ankle injury, but he had an ankle injury. When Schlott was asked about it, I think he spoke mainly about Szoboszlai's mentality, how he, will do anything to get back type thing. So I am positive in that way, but it's never nice having flag players in FPL, and especially when you look at my bench here, when I've only got Enzo Fernandez and Rodon, who I would even consider starting in my team. But even then, they're not good options in FPL this week, I have to be really honest with you. So yeah, the midfield feels okay, but I know for a fact with transfers, it could be made a little bit better this game week. Triple captain feels like an easy decision to make this week. We've had it as a strategy for a long time here with my team. Erling Haaland, West Ham at home, Bosch. Easy peasy, not a problem at all. I will say, if you do not have triple captain active on Erling Haaland this week, you will be hoping that he blanks. He's going to be over 200% effective ownership in my eyes. I feel as though a lot of people have looked at this fixture for a while and discovered, look, this feels like one of the best triple captain opportunities this season. So if you don't have the triple captain active this week, you've got to be praying that Erling Haaland definitely blanks. Just an FYI there. With the rest of the forwards though, I actually want to focus quickly on Mateta here because Glasner said something very interesting yesterday, and it makes me very hopeful for Mateta, but also incredibly scared, because he said for the midweek game and the weekend game, he said no player will start both of these games. He just came out and said it straight away. So I've looked at that and went, oh, thank God Mateta's going to be available for Leeds. But then there's just something in my mind. If Mateta starts in this midweek game, and I know he's not starting against Leeds away, I'm just going to have to sell him. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I do believe that Glasner understands the amount of games that Palace are going to have to play. These type of situations are going to have to come up and are going to have to happen. He's going to have to play sort of a B team in these European games, in the cup games, and then just focus on the league, because I think the league is really where Palace's focus should be, in all honesty. I feel as though they can cruise the Conference League pretty well with the amount of quality in the squad. It's not as good as other teams in the European leagues, but I feel as though the decision he's made here is a very smart one, and hopefully it does help with my Mateta pick. Of course, I could have sold him last week, and that was really one of the decisions that was 50-50 for me, but I've looked at my bench boost in game week 18. I'm looking at this game week as well with a good fixture. I decided to keep Mateta when a lot of people have sold him. He's slowly turning into a differential player, which is quite fun, and I do think there's a bit of upside in keeping a hold of him for the next coming week. So pretty excited for it, in all honesty, but there is still that little bit of feeling towards Mateta where his minutes in the Premier League are nowhere near what they should be, just about getting 60 in the Premier League. It's just not good enough as an FPL pick. So I'm looking at this Leeds game, and I'm praying that he gets maybe more than 80-85 minutes this game week. His data is always good, but when we look at the data, we have to realise if he's only playing 60 minutes, that data doesn't really mean as much, because it's per 90 data at the end of the day. We've got Thiago here as well in the forward line. Now, Thiago is actually missing in the midweek fixture against Man City. He wasn't in the squad at all, and it was said by Keith Andrews that he had a small knock, which, again, a little bit of a worry. I don't want flags anymore on my team. I've dealt with them in the recent weeks, and it's just not fun. I don't want it. So I'm looking at this Wolves away fixture, and I'm thinking, if Thiago doesn't play in this game, everything's just going to fall apart, because this is such a good game for Brentford. I'm desperate. I might even buy another Brentford player just for this fixture and the coming fixtures for them. So, yeah, it's one of them where I'm not exactly looking forward to it if he is out, but with it just being labelled as a knock and him just not being in the squad and sort of having that rest, I do think he will play at the weekend. So, yeah, across that forward line, things look really great for me. There are just some little bits of information we're still waiting on, and as a squad as a whole, we're still waiting on a lot of information as well. So, sort of the Mateta situation, is he going to start in the midweek game? The Thiago situation, is that knock going to prevent him from playing at the weekend? What about Szoboszlai? Is his ankle injury going to be, worse than we thought, and a start isn't going to be made for him at the weekend? So, a lot of things to consider with those three players in particular, but the squad does feel really great. Now, with 4 free transfers, I definitely can improve this team, so we're going to move over to my planning software and have a look at what moves I could potentially make. Here are my current transfer plans for game week 17, and there are a few options and routes we can go down this game week to support some of the situations that I have with my team. And I think the most probable situation that we could deal with here is Szoboszlai being out, but my original plan as is was just to sell Enzo Fernandez on the bench here to one of 3 options I currently have, and the first one would be the Dewsbury Hall move. The problem would be with this, though, is he wouldn't be able to play for me in game week 17. I don't think he's a good option. Arsenal away, it's not good enough, and he's also yellow flagged, but we look at sort of the strategy that I have chip-wise, bench boost in 18. Those fixtures on screen there look fantastic for Everton, and I have no doubt in some way I will be looking at bringing in an Everton player very soon in my FPL team, and this could be a way I do it. A very cheap asset, a very good asset in my eyes as well. Next one, of course, is Harry Wilson. so much attention in FPL this week, and of course a great fixture in 17 and 18 with sort of a run of pretty okay fixtures after. Spoke about it in yesterday's transfer tips video that have we actually already missed the boat on Harry Wilson? Have we all just been drastically late on this guy when he's been doing really well in the past, well, 4 weeks actually? So yeah, Harry Wilson could be a move I make. I'm slowly going off him as we go into the game weeks though. But I still think he's an okay option to consider. And then lastly, Enzo Lefebvre of Sunderland. It's one of them moves where we're getting a penalty taker for Sunderland. Sunderland's fixtures aren't as good coming up. I feel as though I could maybe argue playing him in 4 of the next 6 game weeks, but it's not ideal to be playing him in my eyes. So I'm looking at it mainly as the game week 18 bench boost fixture, Leeds at home. And we already know Enzo Lefebvre is a very integral part to Sunderland's team, and with the African Cup of Nations departures for Sunderland, he's going to have to play even more. So yeah, I really like the Enzo Lefebvre move, and that could be enough this game week to take, of course, another 4 free transfers into the bench boost week next game week, which I feel as though is super strong. But there is a different move we could make here as well. An additional transfer of Minte out to Kevin Schade. Now, it doesn't feel as strong as a move this week in particular. Minte has a Sunderland at home fixture. Of course, Sunderland a much, much better team than Wolves. But I don't know. I feel as though Kevin Schade, we spoke about it again in yesterday's transfer tips video. The Night Manager's algorithm identified Kevin Schade as a really great transfer in this week. And it's partly to do with that Wolves fixture, but also the up-and-coming fixtures for Brentford. And, of course, Kevin Schade coming back from suspension. It feels like a really fantastic buy. Of course, if you don't know who Night Managers are, they are the best FPL algorithm in the entire game. I think for the past 2 seasons now, they have an average rank of 14k in the world. It's just obscene. They beat out massive content creators and the best players in the world pretty much every season now. It's just incredible. If you want to check them out, I am partnered with them this season. You're going to get 2 free weeks if you use the link in the description and code FPLMOGS. And they just absolutely love Schade, and the algorithm thinks he's fantastic this game week. I was incredibly shocked to see he's 0.7% owned in FPL. Because if you remember a few weeks ago when I free hitted, he was owned quite a lot. And we're looking at this now where no one's really got him. And I think he's a bit of a dark horse here with some really good fixtures coming up. So that could be a move I make, but I can easily see it backfiring when we sort of check Minte's fixtures yet again. Because of the fact he's got the West Ham game in the 19, he's got the Burnley game in 20. It feels like a really decent player to have for the up-and-coming game weeks, but my mind does turn to the game week 18 fixture where we have the Arsenal game, where I'm going to be planning to bench boost for Minte. But at the moment, I feel as though I can look forward to the game week 18 fixture with the bench boost active, and then I've got 4 free transfers. I can really do anything I want. Maybe it's the case that Minte would leave the squad in this particular game week, and we can really make some good changes here. The likes of Mateta, maybe he leaves in this game week. Maybe we move a lot of value out with that forward line and move it into the midfield assets here. So a lot we can do with my current transfer plans this week, and of course next week when the bench boost is active. I'll leave it there. I don't want to sort of go into too much detail. We'll discuss my team in a bit more of a formal fashion on my deadline stream on Saturday. But yeah, this is how we're set up for game week 17. Let me know in the comments what you think of my squad and my potential moves this week. And of course, let me know what you're doing with your team this week. It's really great to see your guys' moves and how you're dealing with FPL at the moment. Just want to give you guys at home a massive thank you for your support on today's video. If you did enjoy the video, go ahead and drop a like, and if you're not yet subscribed, make sure you click that subscribe button for future FPL content and FPL streams. But that is everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.